some people close to the program. You know who has some really good footage? I always like to give shout outs to, all the team riders and, whether it's Rivals, On 3, 247, those guys, they put in so much work. Do an amazing job. Don't forget about Justin Smith of Touchdown Alabama. I think he's like a rising star. That guy is really talented. He gets really good footage. If you go out on X or just Touchdown Alabama, he has amazing footage. They have a really good YouTube channel as well. These are the guys that have stood out to me so far, right? Talking to a couple people, kind of looking at, spring depth chart. That's not really too big of a concern for me right now. I'm looking at how are the players moving around. What type of athleticism do we see from these guys, right? What are they bringing to the table that we didn't see from them last year, either because they weren't on the roster or how have they developed early on in the spring? Okay, so the two guys up top, Nikhai Hill-Green, you'll see him, and I put the numbers so you guys could get used to the numbers. I'm still trying to get used to the numbers as well, and I'll tell you guys their positions. You guys should know their positions by now, but Nikhai Hill-Green, linebacker, Justin Jefferson, linebacker, inside linebacker, Jeremiah Beeman, defensive lineman, Cam Calhoun, let's just label him a defensive back. We'll talk about him in just a second. And then you got Dejon Lee there at the bottom, Mustard, who's a corner. So up at the top, I've already honestly been impressed with what I've seen from Nikhai Hill-Green. I get it. They haven't played a game. But what I'm looking for, as I said, the athleticism. How are these guys moving around? Do they have a physical build that seems like they could go through a gauntlet of the SEC? Think about this. They have Nikhai Hill-Green, Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson has been flying around. He's limited right now, so he's like no contact. He has a motor on him. And Nikhai Hill-Green looks the part. He's big. He had 82 tackles last year for Colorado. So those guys, and as I've explained in my past shows, you pair them up with the healthy Deontay Lawson, who hopefully should be that alpha that Alabama needs on the defensive side. That's one hell of an inside linebacker room. A lot of rotation that those guys could come in and out of. If Alabama had to play a game right now, I'd imagine that Justin Jefferson is wearing the green dot. Green dot means they're talking to the defensive coordinator. But those two guys have already stood out to me. Okay, Jeremiah Beeman. I think this is probably one of the early season notes that I'm happy about. Really happy about, because after Tim Keenan, right, and James Smith being limited or out for spring practice, I don't know if he's probably has a small injury. Didn't sound too serious. Jeremiah Beeman getting more reps is very important as well, because you need to bolster that defensive line, defensive tackle, nose guard unit. He's up to like 312 pounds, which is good. The defensive line rotation, I really liked it yesterday. LT Overton, Tim Keenan, those are the guys first in reps. LT Overton, the bandit. Tim Keenan, a nose tackle. Then you also have Jordan Renard, who I thought looked really, really good. I guess I could have put him on here as well. And then Keon Keeley. Those guys look very solid. So I'm actually feeling a little bit better about the defensive line than I was before these two practices. Are you kind of getting that sense as well? Are you kind of getting that sense about Jeremiah Beeman kind of having a breakthrough? Like an early spring breakthrough? I am. How about this guy? Man. They've done good in the portal, okay? Cam Calhoun, I got it. They haven't played. Have you seen Cam Calhoun moving around? When you see the clips, when you see the footage, he's number 9. I don't know. I'm in my mind, I'm kind of like putting him at that Husky spot, but I don't know. He's very talented. I hope he's bringing kind of like a versatile element to the secondary. C-Max, I'm with you, bro. That's like unexpected good news. Ricky Smith, we'll talk more about Keelan Russell and the short footage that we've seen from him so far. I think the best stuff about Keelan Russell is, not only the small footage that we've seen from him, but also some of the comments that Ryan Grubb had to say. I'm going to go over that Ryan Grubb interview, break it down in just a few minutes. It was a fantastic interview. I chopped it up. I'll play it. I'll give you my take. I'll ask you for feedback. You know how the show works. Notre Dame has a hall pass 100%, right, Rich B? 100% to the playoffs, bro. And then Mustard down here at the bottom, 6'4" corner. Yes, please. When can he play? With Damani Jackson, I put out Damani Jackson is limited, or he's out this spring, out limited. We don't know what the injury is. It's probably something small from last season, but it gives you an opportunity to get more repetitions with like a Dejon Lee, who's a freshman here. So those are my defensive camp risers after 2 days. We'll continue to do this just to highlight some guys and continue to talk about spring football as it happens. I would make zero, we're going to talk about this because this is the rotation yesterday during a small window that the media was able to see the offensive line. This is not going to be the offensive line. We're going to talk about it based on the guys that are listed on this. But in terms of this being final, this is 0 out of 100 final. Okay. Guys are getting reps. This is what it looked like at one point in time. Don't get upset about the rotation. Okay. This is about repetitions, seeing how guys are working with the offense. Are these guys capable to improve even further after spring so we don't have to go into the transfer portal for this or that? That's all they're doing right now. It's practice. I'm actually a little bit excited to see Arquel and Newgum, the transfer from Ball State, getting some opportunities with this first team rotation. The reason why is this guy, I think, is a long way from playing. I don't think that he plays much this season, to be honest. When a healthy Caden Proctor's back, I think Wilcom Formby was out for those periods that the media saw. Which for these guys is good because they get more reps, right? One thing that was interesting to me is at the bottom, Casey Poe getting reps at right tackle. I didn't even know that he played right tackle or could play tackle. But so far, we've seen the coaches start experimenting with guys at different positions. Casey Poe at tackle, Michael Carroll at tackle, Olas Allen at tackle. Those guys that I just mentioned are interior linemen, which I think tells you that Alabama's giving their roster a shot to win those spots or for guys to maybe move positions so they don't have to go to the portal. For example, if they think that Olas Allen is capable to be a reserve number 2 tackle, they're going to put him there. Byron, no practice today. Practice tomorrow on Friday. So the way that the schedule will work is they will practice tomorrow. Media will talk to Kane Womack and some defensive players. And then they will be off until spring break starts or ends. So you'll have, some time where these guys will probably go back home or, work out here at the field house and then be back. But it's pretty much the way they do it. They practice and then they lift heavy and then get back to it. Parker Brailsford is still the anchor at the center, and then you have Jaden Roberts as, right guard. You can see if you zoom in on this photo, on his left hand, he still has that brace. Remember, he had surgery right before the season. But again, I would make all this is practice. This isn't any sort of starting offensive line at all, 0%. Some freshman feedback real quick. As you know, Alabama signed one hell of a freshman class. This is probably one of the things that when you look at what Coach Kalen DeBoer has done early on, this was impressive. And when you look to quarterback Keelan Russell, I'll have to say, from the small clips that we've seen and from hearing Coach Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb speak about him in context, this guy's making a lot of headway already. And because of his playmaking ability, Ryan Grubb compares his vision to Michael Penix Jr. I love that little whip that he has. There's reason to be excited for him. He's added 17 pounds. He's moving in the right direction. You don't want to rush anything here. But there's hype. There's reality. And I think the reality of it is this guy is who we're expecting him to be. Now it's up to Coach Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, Nick Sheridan to figure out when he's ready to be the guy, but he's going to be the guy at some point in time. There's no question if, like, can he play here? Is he? Yeah, he's going to. He's going to be the guy. We just have to figure out when. Checkmate, what's up, man? See you inside the comment box. Ebony, good morning to you. Let me ask you, inside the comment box, or if you're watching this on the rewatch, based on what you've seen with your own eyes, the recruiting sites that you've read, articles that you've read, have you felt that Keelan Russell is the quarterback that you thought he was going to be at this early point in time? It seems like it to me. It's been very positive, as you would imagine, but I mean, I've seen him throw the ball. I've seen coaches give him praise. He's got a ways to go, but he's bringing something absolutely special. Latsier Brooks is another wide receiver that I wanted to highlight. He's number 17. Whether it's chopping his feet, running routes, super crisp, very fast. He wears a number 17, right? Jalen Waddle wore that when he was here at the University of Alabama. That's a big number to wear. There's a ton of wide receivers that are above him right now. He's got something special as well. He's got kind of that shake and bake. And he also, every time I see him, he's like up in the air making some incredible catch. Some guys are able to bring that. Some guys have that as part of their game. Mark, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Amanda, good morning to you. So the wide receivers, and even with Ryan Grubb, I mean, you heard him. He was asked about the wide receivers. And it doesn't seem like he sugarcoats stuff. I like that. I've told you, I feel that the wide receiver room has the talent to be like the wideouts again. I don't know how much Latsier Brooks plays, but I like what I've seen so far from him at practice. Practice tells me how you're going to play in the game. We're talking about practice. I think the only guy that compete at a high level without practice is probably AI, right? All right, Michael Carroll. Getting some reps at tackle, but Ryan Grubb said that, look, he's got a long way to go. Plain and simple. That's it. Leave it at that. He's getting reps at tackle. That's great. That's positive. He's got a long way to go. Said the same thing about AK Deer. The clips that I've seen of AK Deer, I'm a little bit excited, though. He wears number 0, and Mustard he wears number 5. That whole running back room is lovely. Daniel Hill, it still is crazy to me that he's 242 pounds. And old Mustard here down at the bottom, 6'4". I saw some footage of him yesterday. It's like, man, if you can retain these guys, I know that's what scares us now. All these guys that I just listed here, and there's many more of them. I just highlighted 5 of them. This is some good freshman feedback early on. All right. Okay. Let's continue. All right. I think what we're going to do now is go over Ryan Grubb's interview yesterday. How this is going to work, I'm going to play some of his sound bites from yesterday, and then I'm going to give you my take, right? We're going to go back and forth. We'll point at things that make our ears perk up. And that's one of the things that, when you're watching these interviews, if you guys could, inside the comment box from time to time, let me know what makes your ears perk up. Those are always because there's always something that you're like, wait, what? All right, so here's Ryan Grubb yesterday in his interview. I'm sure you've watched it. It was fantastic. If you haven't, make some time to just go back, listen to what he had to say. But I'm going to pipe in kind of some of the best sound bites from yesterday. We'll pause it and we'll go over it. But here's Ryan Grubb talking about each of the quarterbacks to start off with.
A lot of things. I think that they each just like any quarterback, have their own individual, strengths and weaknesses. And I think, Ty has done a good job. I thought he had the biggest jump from day 1 to day 2, just as far as like being able to take in all the information, process quickly and move. Austin's done a really good job of showing command for a young player. And then Keelan is awesome, man. He's very unflappable. And, even when things don't go right, and they invariably will for a freshman quarterback, I think he's done an awesome job of just kind of staying the course and being very steady. So, and he can make a lot of plays.
All right, so right there, talking about Ty Simpson making a jump and being able to process things quickly. That stood out to me